For more, I'm joined now by Wendy Dickinson. She's a psychologist and behavioral relation expert. Wendy, welcome to the show. We know that WHO recently listed gaming disorder as a mental health disease. Some don't agree with it. What's your opinion on this?
You know, I think it's really helpful to have a way to basically in a shorthand be able to communicate with other professionals about what we're treating people for. And we've been looking at gaming addiction for a really long time. It's not something that they've just added on a whim. And we're seeing more and more people who are addicted to these video games. I think it's really helpful to have a category so that we can be able to put a label on it and start to be able to treat people well.
I assume that you have received lots of clients, patients, and in your opinion, who tends to suffer more from this kind of disorder or disease in terms of geography? Which country of the world or which region of the country tend to suffer more?
You know, it's interesting. I practice in Atlanta, so I'm seeing clients mostly from the Southeast in the United States, but we see it as a growing epidemic around the world. The recent statistics show that it's somewhere between 40 and 50% women who are online gaming, women and girls, and 50 to 60% men and boys that are online gaming. So by gender, it's pretty equal, and we see it in a growing way around the world.
Do you think there are more pressing underlying issues facing this gaming addiction and those gaming disorder, if you will?
Sure. So most of the time, addiction is really about feeling something different. It's about finding pleasure in something, or it's about feeling comfort or escaping from a feeling. And so anything can become addictive. I think that, you know, when we look specifically at the gaming industry, we're looking at people who feel lonely because they're isolated, and it's a way to find community. We're looking at people who are depressed, and gaming is a way for them to feel like they're making some forward motion or accepting a challenge, being able to overcome something. So anxiety, depression, loneliness can all underlay some of these addictive issues.
So Wendy, one more thing is lobbying. You know, the gaming industry has been fighting against the labeling. Some say there are benefits to playing video games. What do you think? Why do you think these industries are fighting it? And do you think that is an unjust cause?
Well, I think probably the reason they're fighting it is around the profit issue. Certainly, it's a huge industry, and so I understand why they're fighting it. There are some benefits in gaming. There's a community that can be built. It's an enjoyable pastime. I think it's an issue of moderation. Anything in moderation can be enjoyable and a great hobby. It's when it moves from a hobby to something that starts to consume someone's life and have negative consequences that it starts to be a problem.
Finally, Wendy, what would be your message, your advice to our audience who might be gaming addicts?
Well, I think the thing that I would say is to reach out for some help. It can feel really isolating to be alone and then recognize that you have this growing issue in your life. But there are people who are there to help. We see a lot of people in our practice for gaming addiction. And there are ways that you can scale it back into the status of a hobby.
Wendy Dickinson, thank you so much for your time.